try to work it all out. Two middle-aged guys try to work it all out. Two middle-aged guys try to work it all out.
Hey folks, welcome to Two Middle-Aged Guys Trying to Work It All Out. Today, I have with me a special guest. You want to introduce yourself, special guest?
Well, it's Chris. Am I really a special guest? I feel like I'm here most times.
No, Chris is on. I was thinking we had a special guest today. I've got a note here. We have some celebrities on my notes. They're not guests. Ooh, I'm a little bit less excited about this. When folks get into it, when we talk about it, just imagine we're going to talk about some celebrities today. We're going to talk about some surprise performances today, and I want everyone to imagine how exciting that would be if we actually had these folks on the show, but we don't. Sorry, Chris. I'm excited to have you. Surprise!
Well, I'm not sure that you are. I think this whole episode you're just going to be disappointed. Yeah.
Yeah, especially. There's one on my list I would really like to meet.
Okay. I'm sorry, it's not me.
Well, I'm not disappointed, Chris. This was a put on. I knew these celebrities weren't coming on today. They did not return my calls. None of them did. So the joke's on you and our audience. I hope they enjoyed that little skit.
I'm sure that they're thrilled. That you're probably going to get a lot of mail saying, "Why are you being so mean to Chris?" It's okay, ladies and gentlemen. It's okay. We're professionals.
I hired a team of writers. Bruce Valanche, the famed writer from the Star Wars Christmas special, or the special, and the Oscars. And I also think he showed up on Hollywood Squares. Bruce Valanche and his team of crack comedy writers helped me. We're in serious debt, but they did help me come up with that little idea. They spent several weeks workshopping it. And I hope that, I hope it was as much fun for you, audience, as it was for me, and it will be for Chris to help pay that bill.
I think I speak for everyone when I say worth it.
Yes. Well, before we get started, Chris, do you mind if I mention a little movie I saw in the theaters that I thought you might be interested in hearing more about, and our audience might as well?
Do tell.
All right. Spoiler free. I did get to go see Predator Badlands in the theater at our local Alamo Draft House. I did insist on going there, even though my family prefers somehow the AMC. It's a big disappointment.
Yeah, I don't understand that, but okay.
Anyway, yeah, I agree. I don't understand it at all. But I did get to see Predator Badlands, and you know what I'll say, spoiler free. I'm going to say it's very good. I'm not going to go great. And I'm not the biggest Predator fan in the world. So we're not going to do a Predator episode, folks. I will say it's very good. Is it better than Prey? It's very different than Prey. Is it better than the rest of the franchise? It's very different than the rest of the franchise. Maybe. It might be. I consider, Prey and the original Predator and Predators to be very good movies as well. So this may be like up there with it. There's a couple bad ones in the series. Predator, the 2016, 2018 film, I think, by Shane Black is a terrible movie. That's a very bad movie. But the rest of the series is pretty good. And I really enjoy Badlands. And if you've seen the previews, there's a lot of alien crossover references in the trailers. So I say go check it out if you like those kind of movies, and especially if you're an Alien fan, you'll get some stuff out of it. And I'm not giving anything away that's not in the trailers.
All right, so I have some follow-up questions about this. I have not got to see the movie yet. The trailer is I'm a little lukewarm on it. I mean, it looks interesting, but I'm also not the biggest Predator fan. So here's my question, because you spoke to how different it was, and that is something that is very apparent from the trailer. Does it bother you, or do you think it's a problem that we seem to be in a world where everything has to have lore?
Oh, boy. I mean, it's everything, right? I mean, the video game has lore. I was playing a video game today, and I started Luigi's Mansion 3. It took me an hour to get to the actual game. There were so many cutscenes and back scenes and lore, right? And I wasn't going to mention that, but you brought that up. So I was like, oh, yes, everything has lore. So now, an Alien had been building lore. Predator really hadn't been too much. I mean, if you read the comics from Dark Horse, maybe you would. But, Predator had been kind of just, it's an action movie. We'll throw some things, some aliens on the screen, some guys with guns, and just kind of see what happens. But no, does it bother me? In this case, no. But generally, broadly speaking, yeah, not everything needs to have a backstory. In fact, mystery is still kind of nice, right? A good example of this, you may remember this. This is not the episode, folks. This is just the getting into the episode. Do you remember the movie Pitch Black with Vin Diesel?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So that was like setting a movie. Vin Diesel is like part of it, sort of an ensemble. Wasn't the main character totally in the movie. And then that was a very interesting film, right? It was kind of a sci-fi horror type thing. And then they released the second one and then the third one. And they were all lore builders. And they were not nearly as good as Pitch Black. So lore can be a detriment. It can be like a weight to a story. And no, I don't think it's necessary everywhere. In this case, though, actually, I think it improved Predator in some ways. It was going to get lore one way or another. They've done you keep saying lore. It sounds like a ridiculous word. It's one of those words. But they did it in a way it's pretty good. So it actually didn't, it wasn't, an albatross around it, like some would be, like Pitch Black, for example. But it is interesting. Everything's got lore.
Yeah, and that was kind of my reaction when I saw the trailer. Like, it just seems, you go back to the original Predator, and it is such a one-note movie, but I mean that as a compliment. Like, it's a fun movie. It's an action movie.
Just an action movie.
It's just this alien that's, yeah, exactly. And it's just an alien that's fighting these military guys, and that's it. That's the entire story, and we don't need any more than that.
You son of a beep. In the Dylan and Apollo Creed, clasp arms. Yes. This moment brought to you by creatine as they grasp arms and shake their hands at each other. Dylan.
Yeah, and that's the movie. And like that,
you're right.
Still to this day, I have a little trouble seeing Predator as anything but that. And the fact that you take this character that was really a foil for an action movie, and now you're building up this whole history around it, it gets a little exhausting to me. And I love lore as much as the next guy, but man, I just don't feel like everything needs to have 6 feature films to tell me 100% of the backstory of whatever it is. So that's why I asked that question.
That's a great question. Well, tell us, listener, what do you think about lore? That's a question we were not planning to pose, but maybe I'd like to hear that. Are we talking about, I will make sure we've said this word so many times. We're talking about lore as in like a backstory, a cosmology. We're not talking about fishing lures, are we?
No. And for our Star Trek nerd friends, we are not talking about Data's brother lore. We're not talking about him either.
That's right. Nemesis? No, that wasn't Nemesis. That was
no. That's from the series.
Is that from the series? Okay, I was thinking. Maybe
Nemesis
was
before.
Okay, all right. Okay. Well, I think Badlands actually does it pretty well. But there are examples where it goes bad. Maybe it's one of those things. If done well, done succinctly, it's not so. It doesn't really harm a franchise. It actually, can you have a franchise without lore? That's maybe the question, right? Is it self-sustaining at that point to be a franchise without that lore?
That is an interesting question. And I would love to address that, but we've already gone this intro way too long.
Yes.
So we'll revisit that question.
I don't know. Today, I kind of gave it away. But today we're talking about surprise performances. But before before we get into that, Chris, I'd like to maybe play a little game. Speaking of surprises, I think this game might be kind of eye-opening. Before we do it, what inspired me to do this game is something my wife and I do, where we will be watching something and we'll see somebody and we're like, you know what? They've been around for a while, but they're looking kind of young, or like, man, they're looking bad, or whatever. And we'll do that. How old do you think they are? And we'll kind of like guess, and then we'll say, hey, to our home assistant, I won't say the name because she'll speak because I forgot to mute her.
Of course.
How old is Tom Hanks or whatever? And we'll get a number. He's 72. I don't know if he's 72. But like, oh, I was thinking he was younger than that or older than that. So I thought I'm going to take, here's the game. I'm going to take two actors, actresses, musicians, personalities, and compare and have you tell me which one is older and which one is younger. That's our game. I think you'll find this maybe a little surprising.
All right, I'm ready.
Okay, the first one is Rob Lowe or Tom Cruise.
I believe that Rob Lowe is younger than Tom Cruise.
Then you would be correct. Rob Lowe is barely younger than Tom Cruise. Rob Lowe is 61 years old. How that man is 61 years old, I don't know, because he looks fantastic. Tom Cruise is 63. He also looks great, of course, but he has started aging. Apparently, he looked in that mirror he's been keeping up, or that portrait of himself he's been keeping up in the attic. Tom Cruise is Dorian Gray in Mission Impossible 9. The mission is not to age. Okay, all right, you get that one right?
I watched that.
Okay, here's the next one. Nick Nolte or John Lithgow?
I'm going to say that Nick Nolte is younger than John Lithgow.
Well, I mean, Nick Nolte certainly lived a harder life.
Yes.
But you would be wrong. Nick Nolte is 84 years old and John Lithgow is 80 years old. John Lithgow looks pretty good for 80. He's still got his wherewithal. Nick Nolte, I'm surprised, is still alive. But no, John Lithgow is 4 years younger than Nick Nolte.
Okay, I'll tell you, I overthought that one. I thought you were trying to throw me a curveball.
I will. Well, okay, here's the next one. See what you do with this one. Taylor Swift or Miley Cyrus? Now, you're big fans of both these gals.
I'm going to say Miley Cyrus is older than Taylor Swift.
And you would be wrong. As I was putting the game together, I actually thought the same. I was quite surprised. Taylor Swift is 35, and Hannah Montana's Miley Cyrus is 32.
Okay, well,
I would have sworn it was the other way around.
Yeah. All right, good for them.
And our last one, number 4. So right now you've got one right, two wrong.
Yes.
Let's see if you can do this one. Who is older? Who is younger? Brad Pitt or George Clooney?
Clooney is older than Pitt.
You are correct. You are even. Brad Pitt is 61. Incredible that man is only 61. And George Clooney is 64. You know, he kind of looks it, and maybe he's got that silver fox thing going that kind of, he's looked older even when he was young. One of those people, right? And, it's always worked. But, Brad Pitt is 61. So I think that's a good entry point for us to talk about surprise performances. Actors that did something special that kind of we weren't expecting and that maybe elevated them or changed our view of them. And we're going to start, you and I both picked 2 each, but we're going to start with one that we share. Chris, do you want to introduce them if I haven't already given it away?
Well, yes, your Brad Pitt question leads right into it because Brad Pitt is the actor who gave a surprise performance with the definition that we have established for this episode. And the surprise performance that he gave was 12 Monkeys, where he played a psychotic individual who did not have a firm grasp of reality and kind of has this dancing along the plot of how sinister, how evil, how much of an antagonist is this guy. And he plays it extremely well. And before we go into the performance,
spoiler alert, if you have not seen this movie that's nearly 30 years old.
Well, yeah, okay. I mean, there's a statute of limitations.
There is. At 29, you're
That's
safe
it.
after 29 years.
But I want to throw this in context, right? Because this is a pretty early Brad Pitt. So we're in the career where he is pretty much just being cast as, the hunky lead. River Runs Through It.
Thelma and Louise.
I think
Cool
Thelma
World.
and Louise. I think this
Johnny
was even
Suede.
before 7, wasn't it?
7 was just before this.
Was just before 12 Monkeys.
Yeah,
Okay.
Legends of the Fall was before 12 Monkeys,
Legends.
Interview with the Vampire, River Runs Through It, Johnny Suede, Cool World, and Thelma and Louise were his major roles. He had a few minor roles in smaller films. True Romance, he played a small part before this. But so he had some experience, right? But he was not giving... I think that those are good movies. Listen, some of those are good movies, but those were not like surprise breakout performances that showed a skill like what 12 Monkeys did.
Right. And for me, my opinion of Brad Pitt up until 12 Monkeys was always, he's playing Brad Pitt. Regardless of which of those movies you rattle off, it's the Brad Pitt performance. And that's kind of like how I viewed him as an actor. And then 12 Monkeys comes along and completely floored me. I mean, it blew me away. And I felt like I was seeing a performance out of Brad Pitt for the first time. And I thought it was phenomenal. And it completely changed my opinion of him as an actor. When I went from not really interested. It won't keep me from watching a movie, but it certainly doesn't encourage me to now suddenly Brad Pitt's in it. Tell me more. And that's, I think, the key to a surprise performance for me. And I love that 12 Monkeys performance. And I rewatched it fairly recently. Actually, my wife was like, hey, let's watch that. And so I was like, yeah, you don't have to ask me twice, and threw it on. And still, it is a knockout performance. He is so good in that role. And I think it's a brave performance because here you had a hunky leading man that was kind of making his stamp on Hollywood that way, and it's a character role, really.
Yep.
And it's a supporting role. It is.
Yeah,
it is
you're going to play
very much so.
Unlikable, potentially evil, certainly unstable, and in no way attractive. Crazy guy character.
And he killed it. He knocked it out of the park. It's a tremendous performance. Steals the movie, in my opinion, which I have a high opinion of 12 Monkeys. I think it's a good movie. Yeah. But Pitt is by far the best part of that.
He's the best performance. It was a great performance from Bruce Willis, too. One of his best performances ever. So it is a movie that has good performances in it, to be sure. But there's no question Brad's the best part of that movie.
Yeah. So what was your perception when you first saw it?
I thought it was not what I was expecting, and I was very happy to see what I saw. But Pitt's performance stole the show. It makes you laugh. You feel the creepiness from his character. It really comes off screen like this is an unstable guy, and then the ending is actually is really smart and surprising because should we spoil? I don't know. Let's just say this. For those that haven't watched the movie, it's full of surprises, and the Pitt character takes you on a roller coaster ride. We'll say that.
Yeah, it's a great movie, and it's one of those endings that I certainly did not see coming. No. And when it happens, you're just like you're re-examining the whole 2 hours that you previously spent. And I am a sucker for that kind of storytelling. I love it when movies do that.
What's unfortunate is that Pitt wasn't in the sequel 13 Monkeys, and I think it would have been better if he would have been in that. It was him. It could have been him and George Clooney, like stealing monkeys from a casino or something, or from Circus on the Vegas Strip, the old side. There's no
I'd
13
watch that movie
Monkeys.
too.
I don't know. There could be like a parody film, the 13 Monkeys, a baker's dozen of monkeys,
starring Liam Neeson.
Yeah, and you know what? He's all over the place, but he's a little bit over the top, but not like in a bad way. I mean, over the top's usually perceived as like kind of overdid it, hammed it up. No, this is the only way that role could be played, and he's the only one who could have done it and done it justice. It really established him as, like you said, all of a sudden he goes from being Brad Pitt movie. You can kind of. I think Seven was a little bit surprising. I think that there was moments where he certainly he acted. He did his best. But this is where, I think he broke out and became something more than just the, good-looking leading man type. Seven's not my favorite movie, but What's in the Box is. I think I would like to see a director's cut where Morgan Freeman is narrating that like Shawshank, and then old Andy Dufresne found his wife's head in a box. There's maybe something like that would have been an interesting take. Yeah.
I'm sure that cuts out there somewhere. It just needs to find its way to the internet. So
if you do a good Morgan Freeman impression, come up with that, put it over, and put it on YouTube. Get a couple thousand views, become minor viral hit, and that's it. That's all you're ever going to be. That's
no
the best
more.
It gets.
Yeah, indeed. All right. So that's our shared one. And then as you mentioned earlier, Dave, we each have two more to bring to the table. So why don't you lead us off? What is your first one that you want to talk about? Okay.
So I'm taking a slightly, that was a pretty normal one, that Brad Pitt, right? Pretty normal surprise performance. Everybody could look at that and go, okay, yeah, that's surprising. I see where you guys are going. But mine are going to not be following necessarily that pattern, right? I think when you hear them, hopefully you'll agree with them, I think. But my first one of my own choosing, my solo, is Mike Myers in The Inglorious B Words. I would try not to say bad words. So this is another Brad Pitt movie. Mike Myers has a brief appearance in this film. I say brief. He's on the screen for a few minutes. He plays General Ed Finich. This was in 2009. This is when, Myers is kind of he has been sort of this self-imposed exile where he stopped showing up in things. But he briefly appears as a serious role in a movie that is over the top in maybe a way that some might find negative. But he plays a general in the British military. I'm not sure which branch of the service. And he plays that and plays it well. He comes across, but he blends into the film. He comes across as a dignified British officer responsible for this Project Kino, which is a major project to take out Nazis or Nazis. As they're called in this film. And I just remember being stunned when I saw it for the first time. It's like, wow, okay, first of all, it didn't stick out like a sore thumb. He actually worked in the film, but then on reflection, it was like, wait, that's Austin Powers too, right? But it wasn't like I wasn't waiting for him to go, hey, baby, or whatever, like the horrible Austin Powers. Forgive me, everyone. But I wasn't waiting for that, right? He came across as very dignified, as a proper actor in a small role that could have went to just about anybody. He was a halfway decent character actor, but it was a really smart bit of casting. Mike Myers does have an affinity for Britain and the British and Scottishness, as everybody knows, and he is Canadian himself. So, I think he did a really great job. It was totally surprising because it showed, hey, Myers could actually probably do some serious work if he wanted to. I don't think he's ever been in anything serious. Pretty sure he hasn't, other than this. And it was a very big surprise for me.
All right, it's a good pick, but I will have to correct you on he's not been in anything serious. Because when you mentioned Mike Myers in Inglourious, two other roles immediately sprang to mind.
Oh, goodness.
Which first was in a film called 54, which was a movie about Studio 54. He had a bit, and I can't recommend the movie. I don't recommend it.
No, but he's a studio manager, right?
Yeah, and
you're right. Okay,
he's very serious in that film, and shows good acting chops in that film as well. And then more recently, he was in Bohemian Rhapsody. Did you see that one?
I did. I have not seen that one.
It's almost too hammy of a character. Like Myers plays it well, but they go for a Bohemian Rhapsody Wayne's World joke if in the scene.
Oh,
and
no.
I was like, you shouldn't have done that.
No.
But his performance in it is a very straight-laced performance. It's not buffoonery like Austin Powers is or anything like that. I love the Austin Powers movies. They have a place in my heart. I love So I Married an Axe Murderer. I think that is a high-quality comedy film. But again, that's the comedy side of Mike Myers. So seeing the dramatic side of Myers, you don't see it often, but when you do, he surprises you, and it really comes out in a similar way to Will Ferrell when he performs dramatically.
Yes.
He does a really good job with that.
Everything Must Go is one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Will Ferrell film, and it's a very serious movie about addiction, and it's not his usual goofiness.
There is another one that Stranger Than Fiction.
Yes.
I think is a great film with Will Ferrell as well. So yeah, Mike Myers, excellent pick, and you even got a few bonus picks with Will Ferrell there from us.
There you go. All right, what's your first one?
My first one, and this one may be obvious, and when you hear it, you might be like, Chris, you can do better than that. But let me go through my reasons why. Okay, my first pick is Gary Oldman in The Fifth Element.
Okay.
And the reason that is a surprising performance for me is that was not the moment where I was like, oh, this guy can act, because I knew that long before Fifth Element. But what I learned from his performance in Fifth Element is how courageous he could be as an actor. Because we talked about Pitt, like kind of playing against type and that kind of thing. Gary Oldman went for that role in Fifth Element and just held nothing back. It is goofy. It is ridiculous. It's strange. It's confusing at times. And he commits to it in such a way that you're there and you're like, this is a phenomenal performance and a very interesting character in the film.
You actually described the entire movie: goofy, strange.
That's true.
Daring.
Yes.
I mean, it really is he actually kind of, it's the pattern set up by the whole film.
You're right. And he commits to it, and he provides his portion to that pattern set up by the film and does a really great job. I mean, I love that performance from Oldman. It's funny, it's frightening at times, it's quirky. I mean, just like every adjective I could come up with applies to that performance. And it really was such a departure from anything Oldman had done. I mean, here was an actor who I perceived as being, a very serious actor, a very violent actor in a lot of his roles.
Yes.
And to do this almost comic booky caricature of a villain was really exciting. It was really cool. And to this day, it's one of my favorite Gary Oldman performances.
Yeah, I mean, leading up to that, he was in things like The Professional and Romeo is Bleeding and Dracula, very intense, well, he was also in, I think we're going to find a through line here. Brad Pitt was in True Romance. Gary Oldman was in True Romance as Drexel. And Mike Myers was in Inglourious B-Word, which was directed by Quentin Tarantino. Quentin Tarantino wrote True Romance. So, oh my gosh,
yes,
mind blown. You got to keep this going.
This is like 6 degrees of T-Mag right here.
6 degrees of T-Mag. And it all starts with Brad Pitt. You gotta work your way through Brad Pitt.
So yeah, that is my first pick for a surprise performance.
I love that movie. I love Gary Oldman. And it's interesting that because you don't watch that film and say, oh, there's Gary Oldman and he's playing this crazy. He's just an actor playing a very bizarre role that also has to be a great actor. And even if you said, hey, name, before we had this conversation, if you said name 10 Gary Oldman movies, I probably could. I'm not sure I'd put Fifth Element on that list. Just because it's a hard one to remember that he's in it. I obviously remember his character very well. Zorg, right? Was that the name?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. And what he did and how he went out at the end, and the scenes with him. But he just disappears into his roles so well. I mean, he's good at everything, and he commits himself to even like a silly comic booky space opera film.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Bruce Willis is in that. Bruce Willis is in 12 Monkeys.
Yeah. I was going to mention that, but you got there before I did. So yeah, you're right. But to say one more thing about Oldman's performance in Fifth Element, I'm not an actor, so I don't know what that process is and how people go through that. But to land on that accent and that voice, and to be like, no, this is the way it should be, and then for Luc Besson, the director, to be like, yeah, okay, that took some courage right there.
Trust Oldman.
Yeah, exactly. It pays off beautifully. It's so good. And Oldman is, I don't know that I've ever seen him give a bad performance, but that one is a surprising one because it's unlike any other performance of his that I can think of.
Interesting. Yeah, the accent choice is a very good point, right? Here you've got this guy doing this crazy, almost it's hard to describe, but almost Cajun-like accent.
Yeah.
And I would trust Oldman. It's funny. Somebody else who does, I'll just say this, who does very strange vocal choices, I think, is Tom Hardy. If you've ever watched, sometimes he talks a little bit like this, and then a lot of times it's just this sort of unintelligible. Peaky Blinders. A lot of times he's just using the same voices, but it's interesting. In Legend, he played the Cray brothers, and he did the same voice for both of the Cray brothers that he did is in Peaky Blinders. He plays one of the mobsters. It's interesting vocal choices. I would trust Gary. I mean, not that I don't like Tom Hardy, I really do, but I'll trust whatever Gary Oldman does. I think some actors might need a little reining in on that, but I'm saying go with it. And he created a great character in a great movie by leaning into it and leaning into the craziness of it all.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, my next choice, I'm going to say that you may not understand this next choice, but I think when I plea my case to you, Chris, and to the audience, I think you'll understand what I'm getting at here and why I'm so surprised by Keanu Reeves in John Wick.
Okay. All right.
Here's the surprising thing. In 2014, John Wick comes out and Keanu is back, but he never really left. He had made about a dozen films since the Matrix movies, but they were mostly, culturally inert. They had no impact other than maybe Constantine, which is the adaptation of the DC Comics book, which was a minor cult sort of hit or has become one. But they were, he was sort of like, everybody liked Keanu Reeves. Everybody knew he was a super nice guy, but he was Neo. He made $1 bajillion off those movies. And for him to come back as John Wick and then to become an even more iconic character, and I'm not a big fan of the Wick movies. They're fine, right? But they're not really my thing, but they're fine. But to come back and create an even more iconic character than Neo in The Matrix in 2014, when you just kind of thought he was in his kind of out to pasture doing his own thing, but not ever going to have the same sort of impact that he did in the late 90s, early 2000s, that was a huge surprise. Yeah. John Wick bringing back Keanu Reeves bringing John Wick to the screen, bringing him to life, doing a great job. Whether or not you like the movies, you have to admit he does a great job as the character, kind of it embodies that sort of honorable assassin type thing in this world of assassins with rules or whatever. Not really sort of my thing. You'd think I'd like it more, but certainly it kind of wears out its welcome in the sequels. But it really surprised me because it was a career resurgence for someone that I thought probably wouldn't get one because he was so closely associated to another, iconic sort of character in the Matrix films, and I thought it was kind of done for him, but it wasn't, and that's why it was a surprise.
I love that choice. And thinking about it, not only was it a career resurgence for Keanu, but it was an opportunity for him to really ground two franchises, and there are not a lot of actors that get that opportunity. Like an actor will have a big role, and then that's not it, but that's like that was their moment to really move the pop culture needle.
He's up there with Patrick Stewart and Sir Ian McKellen.
Yes, and I was also people who have also had multiple franchises: Harrison Ford, Tom Cruise,
Stallone.
Stallone. These are that's huge names. Yeah, and you put Keanu Reeves in there because he has also successfully done it.
And you know what? Yeah. I want those kind of things for him because I think he seems like a great guy. All right, you hear that, right? He's like nicest celebrities. Google nicest celebrities. I think I would bet almost every single one of those lists is going to have Reeves at the top spot. And it's just kind of a known thing. He's just a nice, gentlemanly guy. But you're right. He did. He landed two big franchises that got a lot of impact to pop culture.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's a young Ian McKellen. What can I say?
It'll be great to see what he does for the rest of his career. So,
good pick. Who knows? He'll probably have another huge franchise next week.
It probably.
I'm back. Who knows
still got
what,
it
right?
Him. Yeah,
yeah. He's gonna play. He's gonna do like a Jimmy Carter biopic, and he'll be President Jimmy Carter. And I didn't know he had it in him. And then he'll spend the rest of his career doing these huge profile Oscar bait projects.
But they'll do 3 Jimmy Carter sequels because that seems to be Keanu Reeves's.
But sort of like it'll be kind of John Wick, like Mr. Carter. They're messing with our Habitat for Humanity neighborhood. Not anymore. I don't know. That's by Jimmy Carter. Amy. That's all. That's how I can get into it. I know he used to say Amy, his daughter. I'm gonna come after you guys. But Reeves, I don't know how he would do the I'm coming after. I don't know. You know what? He should get with Gary Oldman. And he'll call Brad Pitt. Pitt will give him an introduction to Gary Oldman, and then they can work on voice choices together. And he'll just do a totally awesome Jimmy Carter taking out bad guys to protect Habitat for Humanity. That's in the second film or the third film. He'll have to work his way into that storyline. But
you've got to establish the political run before you get into the Habitat for Humanity things. But yeah,
be out on his peanut farm chopping peanuts, and they'll come say, President Carter, we need you for one last mission. I'm not going to do it. I don't know. It sounds like George W. Bush, but one last mission, Carter. You're out here on the peanut farm chopping your peanuts with a giant axe. It seems kind of like overkill, Mr. Carter, going to be honest, President, sir. I think I'm going to work tonight on a script. I think I'll send it to you.
I am waiting for Hollywood producers to catch onto this podcast, and they're just going to greenlight these ideas one right after another. There is no question in my mind. All right, so I'm going to give you my last surprise performance pick. And this one, this is an obscure one. You may not know the film, but you may. Who knows? We'll see. Al Pacino in the film Looking for Richard. Are you familiar with Looking for Richard?
I am not familiar with that.
Okay. So Looking for Richard is almost a hybrid film of part documentary, part performance of Shakespeare's Richard III. And so you have the performance of Pacino playing Richard III, but then you also have kind of a film that surrounds the film where he is wanting to play the role, learning how to play the role, having experience, making choices, hiring people to be with him in the play, and then finally performing it. So the reason this was a surprise performance to me is, again, no question that Al Pacino is a great actor, but I had this perception and only seen Pacino in The Godfather, in Serpico, in, like these types of movies, Heat, where he's just the no-nonsense cop that's going to take care of business and do what he's got to do, right? Like that kind of persona. And then to see him approach Shakespeare with such seriousness and such care and concern, I didn't realize he had it in him. And it turns out that the fault's on me because Pacino's taking that kind of actor mentality and that process to every role he's ever done. I mean, this was the same way he approached Michael Corleone, but to see it in a film, number one, and then number two, to see it related to Shakespeare's Richard III, absolute surprise performance to me.
And he's playing Richard III in this? Like, okay.
Yes, he is.
Wow, so now we have to check this out.
It's a really good movie. It's really interesting. There's tons of people in it, like especially when he's kind of like auditioning who is going to play the rest of the characters. And, like it's just kind of like a cavalcade of his buddies. He was like, hey, come in and read for this and see if we have chemistry together in this role.
So, and this is a movie, not a Saturday Night Live sketch.
That is correct.
Okay. Yeah. Now it's the winter. Hoo-ha! She's got a great monologue. I don't know. I don't do Pacino, but
yes, this is a real movie. You should look it up. It's really good, and it's so refreshing and so interesting to see Pacino in a role like this because you don't. And it's been a while since I've seen it, but I think he even speaks to that. He's like, hey, this is not the kind of role that people hand me, and so he kind of just went off to do it himself. played Richard III, made a documentary about playing Richard III, and you get to, it kind of weaves in and out of his performance in the play and then the documentary about the play. It's a fascinating movie, and I highly recommend it. Even if you're not a Shakespeare fan or Al Pacino fan, this movie is really, really interesting, and it's great, and it is surprising.
All right, so that is a surprise performance, truly. And that's a surprise movie for me that I think I had heard about this at one point or maybe thought it was a joke or something. No, really. And so now I'm going to go check that out.
Yeah, you'll enjoy it. Report back. That's your homework because I'd love to know what you think about it.
I got some Predator movies to watch, but when I'm done.
Yes, get that Predator lore in. And then move on to your Pacino Shakespeare.
Well, Pacino was in Devil's Advocate with Keanu Reeves. And Brad Pitt, I don't know, he probably has played in a movie with the devil. Has Pacino ever been in a Tarantino film? I don't think he has.
No, he has not.
All right.
Not that I can think of.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah. All right. So those are our surprise performances.
Yeah. I hope that our audience was surprised. I hope I have, I hope I've convinced everyone that Keanu Reeves should be Sir Keanu Reeves. And that he's up there with the greats like Stallone. He should be. I mean, truthfully, just for being a nice guy in an industry full of probably not nice people. Maybe that should be
purely for personality.
Yeah. And he's aged, but unlike Brad Pitt or Tom Cruise or some of the other folks we talked about, but he's aged gracefully. So
yeah, I agree. He seems like a down to earth kind of guy, and I don't know. The sad Keanu meme? Are you familiar with that?
I don't think I am.
Okay, so look that up. Sad Keanu meme.
I'm looking it up.
He really does look sad. He's sitting on a park bench, like holding a sandwich or something.
Oh, yeah. He does look sad.
Yeah, he just looks sad. And so he was on Colbert's show, and Colbert held up the picture of the meme, and he's like, no, really, what's the story behind this? What were you thinking? And Keanu Reeves starts laughing, and he says, I think I was just hungry.
Okay, well, that's understandable. All right, who's older, Rob Lowe or Keanu Reeves?
Rob Lowe.
They're the same age.
Oh, okay. All right. Trick question. All right.
They're both 61. So, yeah. You know what? Good for both of them.
Still, we don't know the month. He may be older.
I wasn't going to go too fine. I was just saying, listen, they're, in the same year. You know what? 61's how old Brad Pitt is. This is blowing my mind.
That's true.
Parks and Recreation. Yeah. It was what Rob Lowe was on. That sad Keanu meme. He's sitting on a park bench. Folks, get the corkboard and the yarn out, and we're gonna figure this out. It's a regular T-Mag mystery in the T-Magaverse.
Oh, now we have lore. Great, that's fantastic.
T-Magverse. I added an extra A in there.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Edit that. I just edit that out.
I will.
The T-Magverse.
Oh, now we have lore. Great.
Yeah, great, yes. Or the T-Mag lore.
All right. Well, listeners, tell us what surprise performances meant something to you. What did you see an actor do that you were just like, whoa, can't believe it, never would have expected that? Share those comments with us on Facebook, on email, on our webpage, wherever you want to share them. And Dave, when they decide they do want to share them, where would they find it?
On the internet, Chris. I think you probably
excellent. Should
know that. We've been doing this for a while. They could go to our website, which starts with a www. I think I mushmouthed that. www.2middleaged-guys.com, or on YouTube, just type in 2 middle-aged guys trying to work it all out. At some point there, it'll fill it in for you, and you can go check out all of our episodes. You can leave us a comment there. We will respond to you. Or on Facebook, just type in 2 middle-aged guys trying to work it all out, and you will find us there as well. Send us a message. Send us an email from our website. We will respond. We might even read it on air if you allow us. On air. I guess it goes through Wi-Fi. It's like a Larry King radio show. Call her. Oh, that Brad Pitt and 12 Monkeys. That's a great performance. More, please. That's what Larry King likes to say. Bubblegum ice cream. I don't get it. I think that was one of his articles once said bubblegum ice cream. I don't get it. I actually think that's a Larry King.
I don't get it either. I'm with King
gross.
on that one.
I'm with Larry King on a lot of things, right? Like my worldview is kind of created by, it's dominated by what would Larry do, King.
I can't end the podcast any better than that. So
no, I can't.
We're gonna let the people go now.
Good night, Larry.